it's little me again. So today I have a story time video for you guys, and it all comes down to the 19th of August when we baptize our baby girl. So as some of you may know, I live in Greece and I am Greek Orthodox. I've been raised that way. Tis what it is. Anyway, so according to our religion, we baptize babies in order to give them their name and for them to become Christians. So the baptism process is one where the priest sings various hymns and all that fun stuff, reads certain passages, etc. And then we have to strip baby and give her to the priest, where the priest will have to dip her into water, oil, and some sort of herb I'm not aware of. But yeah. So let's just get into the story a bit more, shall we? So we decided to baptize our baby girl at about 6 months because when they're older, it is kind of hard to hold a much older baby kicking, screaming. It's not a pretty picture. Actually, funnily enough, I will link a video down below from Jimmy Kimmel. Actually, let me just an interview on Jimmy Fallon, The Tonight Show with Ali Wentworth, who's married to a Greek guy. And she talks about her baby girl's christening, and is that called christening or baptism? I think it's kind of the same thing. I'm not sure. Anyway, we'll call it a christening just for the sake of it. So she talks about it, and she kind of describes how for someone who's not Greek Orthodox, it seems extremely horrific to grab a baby and kind of dunk them into the water. Whilst for Greek Orthodox, it's like, oh, okay, it's a very sacred moment. As a mother, I get what she's talking about, so I'm gonna link that down below for you guys. So anyway, so we went to this super cute little church up high on the mountain. So it was very picturesque. It was really lovely. It was nice and cool as well. We've had quite a bit of heat lately, but it was nice and cool on that day. And so I went up in the mountain. This cute little church, just family, very close family, nice and quiet. And baby girl was actually wearing a super cute little Ralph Lauren flowery dress that my brother bought for her when she was born. Actually, let me show you. So this is a little outfit she was wearing. Now, this little outfit was quite big, it seems. I don't know. There wasn't much ventilation in the church because it's one of the very old churches. So within the first 5 minutes of the process, where her godmother was holding her and the priest was reading certain passages from the holy books, she started crying and crying and crying. And this first stage of the christening lasts for about 10 to 15 minutes. And just imagine that throughout the process of hymns and reading, etc., I would be taking the baby, I would be giving it to the godmother, then to her dad, then to me again, trying to calm her down. Until actually the priest said to us, maybe she's hot, just take up her little dress. And we literally, now that rarely happens. Priests don't do that. It's usually, you have to be very strict and very specific. This priest, he's slightly younger than you would normally see in a priest, and as far as Greek Orthodox standards, and he was actually not even going to be the priest to baptize baby girl. We were going to have another priest, but our priest was actually busy on that day, and I'm actually happy that happened because the one we had was really nice. So we actually took off her little dress and she calmed down immediately. So she was fine and happy in her nappy. For the first part where certain hymns were being read and certain things were being said, her name was called out. That's kind of the process. And then we had to move on to the phase where I have to hold her and the priest has to apply in the cross motion, apply oil on her forehead, her chest, each of her arms, her legs, and her back. She didn't like that. She did not like that. She started screaming practically instantly, and I'm holding my baby, and I'm just, oh my goodness. I was like, I've been to many christenings before. but I was never a mother, so I'm just kind of like, I'm traumatizing my child right now. And this is my religion. I've been raised and I believe in it, and oh god, like my motherly instincts were totally put to the test. So I'm holding my baby and the priest is doing these things. He's being very nice though, very kind, and he's giving us instructions and making sure we know what we're doing. He's very aware of, making sure the baby's okay and that she's not like getting so upset that she's getting sick. So I was very happy about that. What are you doing? She's playing here in front of me, as per usual. So yeah, so after that point came the point where I had to hand her over to the priest, and he basically dipped her into a large copper kind of basin tub thing. It's like this huge, looks like a huge copper cup, to be honest, but it's really big. And they put warm water in there, and they've also put oil as well as, there's a herb that I just can't remember for the life of me. Anyway, so they pop baby, dip baby right in there, water, oil, and everything. And they also pour oil on her hair, and they literally submerge her. So he grabs the baby, submerges her in the water, pulls her out, picks her up, pulls her back in, pulls her back out, and I'm watching, and she's crying, and I'm like, oh god, oh god. Yeah, it was just, I have to say, very, very different experience when you're the mother to when you are just like invited to a christening of someone you know. It was, yeah, I did not expect to feel so protected and to literally want to grab her from the priest, but nope, I managed to control myself. So Bubs was dipped, brought back up, dipped, brought back up, and covered in oil. She was like dripping in oil. And then she was handed over to her godmother, who had been draped in the meantime with, I think, like a towel, a sheet, and like this special kind of sheet that doesn't allow oil to kind of go through. It's kind of odd. Anyway, and she's popped onto the sheet, like the godmother kind of holds out her arms, baby's popped on there, and my sister-in-law actually ran forward, and I'm so glad she did. She kind of ran forward and wiped her hands and her face very quickly, as well as her eyes, and just made sure that no oil was anywhere near her eyes, because if that happened, oh my god. So she made sure that no oil went near her eyes, which I'm so thankful for, because I just didn't think at that moment. And she's moving. I left her like further down, and she's actually reached my legs right now. She's gonna be crawling anytime. Hi! Yeah, I'm talking about you. I'm talking about you. You're silly, You're silly, Oh. So yeah, and then she basically had to be held by her godmother for the rest of the process. I did get to dress her, so after about 5 minutes of her being held basically naked and covered in oil by the godmother, I took her, quickly dressed her up in a special little dress that she had for her christening. Actually, where do I have her dress? 1 second. So this was her little dress. It's all tulle, it's cute, and it actually still smells of olive oil, which is funny. So she changed into her little dress, and then was taken again by her godmother to kind of go through certain processes where they read things from the, I'm not sure what it's called in Greek, it's like the holy book anyway. So the various hymns, etc. were read, passages were read, and the godmother basically holds the baby and walks around the copper tub along with the priest. So there's like a whole, I think, a good 10-15 minutes where the godmother has to hold her, and she's crying, and she's got a reddened face, and I just want to hold her and comfort her. I'm like thinking that I spent 6 months showing my baby that I'm always there for her, and now suddenly within half an hour, she has given up all hope. Oh gosh. So she reached a point near the end of the ceremony where we were standing in front of the priest. It was her godmother, her godfather, basically her godmother's husband, me and her daddy standing kind of like next to each other. I was standing next to her, and she was just so tired from crying. She was kind of sitting there just looking at me with this tired look, sad look, and I was like heartbroken. Seriously, the trauma. The trauma. Of course, I suppose maybe it was more traumatic for me. I don't know. So at this point, we all had to do like say a couple of words and like a little process, and then I had to basically kiss the godmother's hand in order to receive my child. So I had to kind of bow to her so she can return my child to me. And yeah, and baby girl happily came to her mom, and she was just so tired. She was exhausted from crying to the point where 2 minutes I was like, I barely held her. I walked in like one direction, another direction, spoke to a couple of people. She was asleep. She was out. She was out like nothing. She was rolling, her head was rolling. I just had to really hold her. She was just exhausted. And we actually took some photos and stuff later with her sleeping, which is still cute. So yeah, traumatic experience for baby, for mom. I don't know which one's worse. Baby, mom. I suppose being dunked into water with oil can be way more traumatic than just watching it. Yeah. I mean, I did know that she would be okay. It's not like I didn't know she would be okay. It's just the whole idea and the whole sense of your baby's crying and you can't exactly go and pick her up and be like, don't worry, baby, you're gonna be okay. Yeah. It was traumatic, and I have to say, the amount of stress I had leading up to the christening, oh god. I was terrified. I was so stressed, and I couldn't think of anything else. I was having nightmares. Nightmares. And I have to say, I was so happy when it was over. And then the other interesting thing about our christening process is that she's covered in oil. So after this whole christening, we have to not bathe her for 3 days. We have to bathe her on the 3rd day. And on the 3rd day, you have to wash away the oil and keep the water. So it can't go anywhere. You have to like be in a little tub. And you have to kind of keep this water and pour it in the sea, or at least somewhere where humans will not step on it. I'm not 100% sure why that is. I think it's because of the oil and the cleansing of sin and of like the pre-Christian situation. I don't know. But we have to pour it out into the sea, so we washed her on the 3rd day, and I had to wash all the different clothing that touched the oil. And even at that moment, after the christening, because I had touched her with my hands, and I had oil on my hands, I had to wash my hands over the tub with the water. The priest actually pours into a very specific place so that it's not stepped on by anyone. And yeah, so baby girl had to basically sleep in oil for 3 days, but it was okay. She survived it. I was afraid that she would have an allergic reaction to the olive oil, but it was pretty much okay. I kept an eye on her. If there was any reaction or anything, I would have washed her straight away, of course. That was like, I didn't even have a second thought about that. So yeah, we went through that process. That was very stressful. And I have to say, at the moment, like in the ceremony itself, you do feel the importance of it. It's not as bad. I wasn't as stressed. It was just the moments when she was crying, and I just kind of felt a little bit helpless that I couldn't hold her. But other than that, it was okay. I think all the stress I went through before was more so that I was terrified that something would happen to her, like she would probably choke or something. Because when she gets really, really upset and cries for a very long time, she starts choking and gagging and going blue in the face. So yeah, but no, it was pretty much okay. And now I'm playing with my hair, so I get a bit hot. it was okay, and it's gone now. It's done. And we actually also went to church the 3 following Sundays, which was nice. It was nice going to church with little miss. And yeah, it's one of the things that is a part of our lives, and she's also going to be part of that. That's how I was raised. That's how I will be raising her as well. And yeah. So that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you liked the video. It's kind of an interesting story. Watch the video from Jimmy Fallon. It is hilarious the way she describes it, because it's exactly the way I was kind of imagining it as a mother, but at the same time I also see the holiness because I've been raised as Greek Orthodox. So it's really funny to see an American's view, like a non-Greek Orthodox view on christening. It's just funny, hilarious. I loved it. I loved it. So give that a watch as well, and yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!